Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear friends, this is Farooq Mirza from New York, Fourth Pillar TV USA's program, Washington Global Forum. Uh, Good evening, good night, everybody in Pakistan. Good morning. Uh, we welcome Professor Dr. Golam Mujtaba Sahab. He's chairman, Pakistan Policy Institute, USA, strategist, uh, Pakistan Americans relationship. He is an expert subject matter. And we also welcome Waleed Ansari Saab. He is a former Attorney General Pakistan. Thank you very much for coming to the show. We have a very important issues in Pakistan. Uh, our first segment would be uh, growing violence, terrorist attacks recently in Islamabad and in KPK and in a border situation, a very unusual situation we observed. The military establishment and the governments, they are very active and aggressively they are trying to control this situation. The Taliban factor, especially in Afghanistan, TTP, Tehrik-e-Taliban, we call them Pakistani Taliban. Now they are very violent and they announced regular attacks in entire Pakistan. So the recently attack, a suicide attempt in Islamabad, one of the vehicle carrying heavy explosive, and we admire brave policemen, and they gave up their life and they stopped a very big disaster in federal capital and could be a very big human lost in Pakistan. So Dr. Saab, after 8 years and all of a sudden the Taliban in an extreme weather, and now they are actively hammering Pakistan and destroying not only a peace in Pakistan but regional peace as well. So what the people thinking and the strategists at this point, Pakistan's role dealing with the terrorism was as a firewall, and the hundreds and thousands of precious lives sacrificed and the Pakistan made, and the rest of the world uh, they slept peacefully. Now again, not only the peace in the region and in Pakistan is threatened, but it is expected that this terrorism, a new kind of terrorism ray, could hurt rest of the world, Europe, Middle East, and the sleepings in their cells. They could be active and sabotage the international peace. So how you will respond, Dr. Saab? What's going on? Why it started at this time when Pakistan is suffering an extreme political and economical crisis? Do you think it is a well-knitted conspiracy to destabilize Pakistan and to hurt in that situation? And what is the remedy and how world would respond, sir, from American perspective as well? The America, the State Department also uh, gave a statement, a very positive statement that they will stand by Pakistan to deal with this situation on border.
Thank you very much, Farooq Mirza Saab, and thank you, Varian Sari Saab, for joining in. Uh, it has been always a pleasure to join such an academic debate to create awareness amongst the populace of Pakistan. This is a very important topic in terms of the national security of not only Pakistan, it also relates to the global security interests, including the interest of the United States. When there is a spike in terrorism, certainly we have witnessed so much terrorist activities in 9/11, post 9/11, and pre 9/11 that the entire population of the world, the peaceful world, is very much concerned if this spike is going to bring more results. However, before going into the discussion and opening this debate, we have to take few things into consideration. One, what is the objective and motive of these terrorist activities? Why all of a sudden a new spike has taken? In order to study the reasons behind new spike, as a student of medical science, as a doctor, we look to the pathology of a disease state, the reasons why a normal state has gone into a sickness or a state that deviates from the normal behavior. What is the pathology of this spike and these terrorist activities, and why now? We have to see the qualitative part on this research, and this is for those people who are experts in conflict management and those world leaders who are concerned how to deal with conflict. They have to listen to this carefully. In order to deal with this situation, one has to understand what new incident has taken up now that has created a spike in the region. What is new that happened? Let me tell you what new has happened here. Before a year, the United States armed forces and the military presence of the US and NATO forces existed in Afghanistan. Did that existence of the troops manage to control any terrorist activities emanating from the region? Was that one of the reasons that worked as what he called it a firewall in defense of security interests? That's one question. Now, when the troops departed, what was left in Afghanistan, the people in Afghanistan, they thought that their government would be recognized by the West and by the global community at large. This did not happen. The government of Taliban was not recognized by the world, by the members of the world community. They got frustrated. Their $9.5 billion sitting with the US Treasury was not released. They don't have an economy. They don't have a government recognized. They cannot open LCs and trade with the outside world. Only black trade or something that is in the gray area can be done by them. That is creating a frustration amongst them.
Doctor
Now,
Sahab, Doctor Sahab, we are talking about
yes, we are
TTP,
going into that. Before
Tehreek
we
Taliban, Pakistani
No,
Taliban
no, no. We
factor.
will discuss that. That frustration is coming and is exported out of Afghanistan into the borders of Pakistan. And that is why you see the footprints of Taliban in Pakistan. Now, what is happening in Pakistan? Pakistan has the situation in Pakistan or the economy in Pakistan is playing as a catalyst to those forces with Pakistan's economy in doldrums. Pakistan's economy today is getting bad. When there is a decline, there is a plunge in the economy. The terrorist activities rise. This is inversely proportional. When there is a plunge, a rise in the economic conditions, there is a decline, there is a rise in terrorist activities. That's very much normal. That we all know in conflict management. Now, in this case, there is a serious problem with Pakistan's economy. And with that serious problem, we expect crime rate to go high. And I think Mr. Walid Ansari Saab is here dealing with law and law enforcement agencies and law itself as a student of law. He would second my statement. When there is a rise in when there is a decline in economy, there is a rise in crime. So this is a crime that is happening now.
Doctor Sahab, I will come back to you. Thank you very much. You explained very well. Walid Ansari Sahab, coming to you. We observed a visible divide in the establishment in our departments, and the military leadership was accused, they blamed, and a campaign was started against them, and later uh, we saw uh, a depression within the establishment as well. Now the regime has been changed, and there is a new leadership with new vision. But at the same time, the politicians, they are divided. The strategists, they are divided. Even the federal governments and their the provincial governments, it's kind of anarchy. There is a political upset, economical upset. Do you think in this situation, and in this unusual situation, these anti-Pakistan forces, and especially the Tehreek-e-Taliban, on behalf of some of these forces, they are taking advantage of this situation? Ansari sir, sir, do you hear me?
Gee, yes, I would second what Mr. Professor Golam Mujtaba has just said. And yes, sir, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, we hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay.
I said I second what Professor Dr. Golam Mujtaba has just said. That
Okay.
at least in the case of Pakistan, we have seen that when the economic conditions of the country have worsened, terrorist activities and crimes have risen substantially. And we do know from history that Pakistan has been subject to a lot of intrigues, and this is not something new. So there are forces that are attempting to undo Pakistan, number one, and there are forces that would like to put Pakistan under pressure, whereby they can use the geostrategic importance of this place and possibly some resources which are not too much in the news, that could be they could be I should say controlled. uh, the divide in the establishment which you mentioned, with the rise of social media networks, they should have realized that this is going to be inevitable, and they should have geared their own capabilities towards becoming more professional and more efficient, and seeing that the chain of command in the military is not disturbed. At least they may have problems internally, they can solve those, but these disturbances should not be in the press for people to take advantage of and try and undermine an institution that has always been professional. There is in Pakistan at the moment a constitutional anarchy, I would say, and this has been going on for quite a number of years. We are seeing step by step that new constitutional provisions, new constitutional adventures are being taken, and people are trying to push the system to its limits. Now, if we had the love of the country at heart, I'm sure that we would have taken a few painful decisions on ourselves as well. I mean, political parties in this case. The TTP is being used certainly by someone, and the TTP is involved in Pakistan to a great extent. And at the moment, they are doing whatever they are doing. Yesterday, there was a bomb blast in Islamabad, which they have owned as well. One police officer died, and 6, 7 people were injured. So they are now trying to hit Islamabad. This is an attempt to destabilize the political, at least, mindset of this country, and take advantage and try and bring as much pressure on this country as possible for their own aims. What are those aims? We have an inkling of what those aims really are, but we do know that there are a lot of anti-Pakistan forces within the TTP, and the Afghanistan government says that they are not operating from our country. These people are operating internally from Pakistan. If that is so, why are they trying to cut the barbed wires that the government have installed there? Is it not for infiltration? If it is just for uh, individuals or citizens who go for commerce or for employment, stopping them. There's no bar or ban on them. So there are a lot of questions that are raised over here, and we do know that it's a situation that is in flux at the moment, and our politicians should sort of seize this opportunity to unite
Um, folks, Waleed Ansari Saab has a little internet issues, a technical problem. We apologize for that. He will come back. Uh, Dr. Saab, uh, coming to you, the State Department issued a statement. What happened in Pakistan? The TTP, they attacked one of the high security facility in KPK, and later uh, the army uh, moved in and they killed all these terrorists and rescue the hostages. Uh, it was a very daring attempt, a very responsible uh, role of the Pakistan military and their elites. And uh, the journals from the CENTCOM, they also visited Pakistani military leadership. And hopefully, do you think at this time the Pakistan-American relationship, especially military to military relationship, uh, will jointly uh, eliminate these elements of growing terrorism in Pakistan? Because, as you said, it's a global threat. It's not a regional threat. So, how you respond, sir?
Uh, First of all, you have to, or we have to come to some understanding on the subject. Is this threat more of a defense security lapse, or is it a threat because of economic crunch? If we come to a conclusion that there is a defense or security lapse in the entire situation that has come up in Pakistan, then Pakistan's armed forces have the capability to defeat those threats. But if the threat is based on economic conditions, then Pakistan is a very good medium to play with the economic crunch at the moment, and the force of Pakistan would use all means to infiltrate into the Pakistani society to create chaos, unrest in the country. If this is only related to the security of the country, we do not have to worry. Pakistan's army will handle that. But I think this is not a security lapse. I think this is not a security threat. The threat has come up because of the economic conditions in Pakistan. For example, the economy has gone into doldrums in Syria because of civil war. Now, this is a very good medium to bring terrorist organizations to function in Syria. There is a very good example of terrorist organizations functioning in Yemen. There is a very good example of terrorist organizations functioning in most parts of the world where economy stands at doldrums. The crime rates increase and terrorism increases. This is by virtue of the economic conditions. Now, how to handle the foundation, the root cause of these terrorist activities? There is no way you can handle this by saying that Pakistan's armed forces are courageous and they can handle this. Yes, they are courageous. They can handle the Banu episode. They can handle the Chaman episode in Balochistan. But this is not going to end. Let me tell your audience, this chain of events will continue in Pakistan. And remember these words, this chain of events will not stop. The root cause of the entire problem is the economic deprivation that exists in the region. How would you handle the economic deprivation? That's a fundamental question. If There was no economic deprivation. There was no problem in Pakistan for the last many years after so many actions taken by the armed forces in Waziristan and other areas. But
Dr.
when the
Saab, then
economic let me finish up one thing. In December 2021, Pakistan's foreign currency reserves were $17.7 billion. In 2022 December, the same year, on the same date, Pakistan's foreign currency reserve is less than $6 billion today. We are going into minus. What do you expect? There will be peace? Is this not a good medium for the foes of Pakistan to work within Pakistan? Is this not the right time to buy suicide bombers in this country and then place them into their for their jobs because they don't have money to feed their offsprings, to feed their family? They can be bought. One suicide bomber wants to give up his life by getting 1 million rupees in order to feed his family for the next 10 years. This is the only choice these people have. It's a breeding ground for terrorist activities. And Pakistan has to take a very serious action on this. In order to take this serious action, Pakistan has to bring a right man in the leadership cadre to control the economic deprivation in the country. Without that, only armed forces with uniform and guns cannot control these things.
Dr. Saab, Dr. Saab, the TTP is on a loose, and they are very sophisticated. Their response and their attacks, their style, it's a military, and it's a very skilled. These terrorists, they are they are hammering Pakistan right now on different sides. And do you think the world should also respond, and they didn't let Pakistan alone on economical front? Because I think the way this terrorism ignites immediately, and it could erupt regionally and also destroy international peace. Do you think the Pakistan should not uh, deal with this very situation? Because the problem in Afghanistan was not a Pakistan's problem. Pakistan was fighting a global war. The Pakistan was fighting others' war. Not that was not our the Pakistan's issue, but Pakistan helped. Even Pakistan helped uh, uh, to rescue these forces from Pakistan in a friendly way. So the destable Pakistan is not in the best interests of the rest of the world. So do you think the world should also respond and help Pakistan economically, and also help strategically to deal with this growing terrorism?
There are two aspects to the entire question that you brought up. One is the narrative of being a Pakistani from the Pakistani side, and there is a second narrative that exists on the other side of the Atlantic. When you said that Pakistan has had been a supporter in a war against terrorism and has supported the Allied forces in a war on terrorism on a number of occasions, the answer is yes. Pakistan did that. Pakistan supported that. Now, what change has taken place today? Pakistan has gone into the laps of Chinese camp. This is a report of the DOD, not my report. Department of Defense Intel report, intelligence report, has got nothing to do with my analysis. This is well documented that Pakistan is thick and thin with China. When you switch loyalties, switch your camps, then you have to face certain obstacles because you are moving on one vehicle and now you switch over to the next one. In this case, Pakistani leadership, not Pakistan, Pakistani leadership, there is a failure on the part of Pakistani leadership. Pakistani leadership, including Musharraf, including Zaul Haq, including Ayub Khan, and the pioneer, the proponent of relationship between Pakistan and the United States, the first Prime Minister of Pakistan, Liaquat Ali Khan, brought Pakistan into American camp. That was a very wise decision. Pakistan played very well during those regimes which supported the US allied and NATO forces and were part of the American team. They never had such problems. But Pakistan's economy went into doldrums. Pakistan's economy is being lost. And now we complain that we supported you. Yes, you supported the US. But what you did with switching over, starting from the time of Shuja Pasha, Pakistan was brought into the Chinese camp and Imran Khan was promoted. Then Zahirul Islam did the same thing. Then it was Faiz Hamid who did the same thing. This is a policy that is not acceptable to the other side of the Atlantic. They consider that we have invested so much into Pakistan by giving $90 billion of aid, not Chinese loan or debt trap, to Pakistan. Yes, we understand that Pakistan has given sacrifice in return. But with that thing, what was wrong? Why Pakistan had to switch the loyalties after the OBL discovery in Abbottabad? Why things were not managed properly? Why congenial atmosphere between Pakistan and the US was not done? Why Faiz Hamid went to Kabul and started to show off without any government in Kabul who supported Faiz
Dr.
Hamid's
Saab,
presence
this
in
is
there?
Dr. Saab, Pakistan was always in the Chinese camp. This is not the first time, but
But this is your statement. I
and
respect your statement.
whenever
But
the
the DoD statement of the intel of the
yes,
United States says different.
Dr.
They
Saab,
says
when
that Pakistan has gone in the recent years into the Chinese camp, not what you're saying.
Dr. Saab, 20 years Pakistan was a strategic partner. Recently, the State Department confirmed, and they said Pakistan was a strategic and still
So,
is a
so you
Pakistan
you are
strategic
contradicting
partner.
U.S. statement that Pakistan was in the Chinese
No,
camp. No,
no, the
Pakistan during Musharraf has
during
had
the
been the recipient
during
of
the
the
war,
major support by the
Dr.
United
Saab,
States. So
Dr.
Pakistan was
Saab,
not in the Chinese camp.
Dr.
This
Saab,
is the
take the
recent
question.
development that has taken
Will you
place
Saab
from
take?
Shah
Will you Saab, can
Pasha
you
onwards.
please take the question? Uh, the situation, the economical situation during the wars in 20 years and before that, when the Russia occupied Afghanistan, the Pakistan economical situation was the same because the wars never give uh, countries economic growth. So now the new array of terrorism. My question is to you: is a very big threat
No, but before you give a sweeping
to the
statement,
global
before you give a sweeping statement
to the
that
global
Pakistan was very
security.
good, you have to ask me as to what my opinion. Do I agree with you? No, I do not agree with you. I have to give you an input on that. So give me
I
a
will
sweeping
ask you.
statement on that.
No, no, I will ask you this question. I will come back to you, Dr. Saab. Waleed Ansari Saab, do you think it's a global threat, a security threat, and the world should respond in the same way and help Pakistan in that in this situation economically and strategically? Because if this terrorism ignites from that region in the region from Pakistan to the rest of the world, so how the world will respond? Uh, so, Wali Sahab, how you will respond? Wali Sahab, do you hear me?
Sorry, your voice is breaking. I could not hear your question properly. Could you kindly give it to me in short again? Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Saab, the growing terrorism right now is just ignites from
Yes,
Pakistan.
no, your voice is breaking. I can hardly hear you. I think
Okay,
I'll
now,
connect again.
okay, do you hear me now? I think we have a technical issue with Waleed Ansari Saab. Dr. Saab, you go ahead, please.
What's your question? What's the question you want me to
Dr.
answer?
Saab, my question is that the growing terrorism in Pakistan and the I think it's a Afghanistan factor. These you mentioned before, and if this terrorism ignites and the rest of the world will also suffer. Do you agree with me? And if this is the situation, do you think the world should also respond in the same way, help Pakistan economically and also strategically?
First of all, as a matter of principle, Pakistan has had been helped throughout these years since the inception of Pakistan on terrorism. Uh, at the time of of invasion of the Soviet Union, American taxpayers' money went into Pakistan. Can anyone deny that? No. American money was used in Afghanistan by Allied forces, including Pakistan. And there were not only those that money which was documented, there was a lot of money that went into Pakistan undocumented. Now, at the time of Pervez Musharraf, post 9/11 or 9/11, the war against terrorist network in Afghanistan, yes, there was a lot of money that went into Pakistan. Had I been, and this is very important for you to understand, had I been the Prime Minister of Pakistan or the President of Pakistan, when almost $1 trillion floated into Pakistan for war against terrorism, off record and on record, more than $50 billion went into Pakistan. Pakistan should have put some infrastructure for the country. Two things I would have done. One, waterways all the way from the north of Pakistan to the banks of Karachi, to the harbor of Karachi. Why? German made their river bed, which was not a natural river bed, in order to supply water and bring water resources to each and every area for agricultural lands, for farmlands, and for transportation of goods. I would have brought that waterway all the way from north to the south of Pakistan. That would have helped trade in Pakistan. Number two, I would have used that money to build up infrastructure in Pakistan for Pakistan to grow. Why? Pakistani leaders failed to build up infrastructure when the money was flowing
Dr.
into
Saab, over
Pakistan.
100,000 precious lives lost, almost 80 to 90,000 military personnel, men and women,
I'm not
and
talking
the
about the
young
sacrifice.
people,
I'm not
they
talking about
lost
the
their life.
Pakistan
That money
sacrifice.
was that
Pakistan's
money.
sacrifice is undisputed, but why the money
And
was not used?
20
Why this
years,
money went
20
for
years
corruption? Why the money
our
went into
civilian
bank
life,
accounts of the
you know,
leaders?
the
I want to know how
hundreds of
Pakistani
bomb
corrupted
blast
money,
attacks on our
Pakistan's corruption
civilian life.
money went into Swiss bank accounts. I want to know that.
Dr. Saab,
Where
these
did
are
that money came in from?
these are
This
the
was all
corruption.
American money.
This is the corruption. It is already documented, and most of the
No,
cases.
that is the problem. Pakistan's leadership failed to put infrastructure and tried to put their money into foreign banks.
I want to bring
I
you
want to
back to
know what
the.
is the loyalty of those people. We don't want any disinformation for
Dr.
the
Saab, we
public.
are not accountable.
I am serving Pakistan's interest by telling the truth. I am serving
But
Pakistan's
right now, I
loyalty
want to
by telling
divert
the
your
right
attention
stuff.
to
But I'm
come
not
back
trying
to.
to disinform the people and tell them the wrong stuff to hoodwink them in order to help the government, in order to help the people who are part of corruption. No, I'm not going to help them. I must tell the audience that these people are responsible for corruption. It's not terrorism.
Dr.
Pakistan
Saab,
is a victim of
my
corruption and corrupt practices,
Dr.
not
Saab,
terrorism.
Dr.
The
Saab,
reason terrorism has taken
Dr.
grounds
Saab,
in Pakistan is because Pakistan's
my
economic
question is
condition
very
has been
different.
damaged through corruption.
Dr. Saab, my question is very different. I want to bring back to the topic. We are talking about the growing terrorism right now is just ignited,
Yes,
and
that's your
it could
question.
listen, Dr. Saab, I just want to please listen to me. This the terrorism is if escalates, and what would be the consequences? I'm talking about. I'm talking to you very seriously. So my question is that, do you think the world should respond and should help Pakistan in that situation, while economical and political situation is very unusual, and this kind of new terrorism ray is very extremely dangerous? That's my question is that.
Okay. The world will respond to a limited level to Pakistan. World is not going to give a blank check to Pakistan because in the past, all the money that came in from the allied governments did not help only terrorism. It helped their own pockets. It brought corrupt leaders right on top because of money. They looted the wealth from Pakistan, and those wealth would not flow like that into Pakistan anymore. If Pakistani establishment, if those who matter in Pakistan, including Hafiz Saab, if they mean business, then they have to bring honest leadership, leadership with situational qualities in order to save and salvage Pakistan. Pakistan's armed forces, Pakistan's intelligence agencies, Pakistan's oligarch has to understand one thing very loud and clear. Any leadership that does not hold credibility at the international stage, any leadership that has no past reference of honesty, would not be accepted by world leaders to give support to Pakistan. If Pakistan wants support, there should not be duplicacy in Pakistan's foreign policy. Pakistan's foreign policy should be linked to those who support Pakistan. Pakistan's foreign policy should be honest with those who help Pakistan. Pakistan's foreign policy playing a double game with China is not going to help Pakistan. We, as Pakistani Americans and Pakistani diaspora living abroad, we want to make it very clear before Pakistani public opinion that we want to see a flourishing Pakistan. If China's support, if going into Chinese camp is helping Pakistan's national security, is helping Pakistan's economy, is helping Pakistan's foreign policy, we are supportive of your policies. We will extend all our support to you. But if you are hoodwinking the people of Pakistan by showing the Chinese card and putting money into your pockets and making corruption rampant in the country, we are not supportive of you. We want to see a flourishing Pakistan. You go to any camp, do not play double games. Go to the Chinese camp. Well and good if that helps Pakistan. But to us, we know this is not helping Pakistan. This is helping corruption in Pakistan. And we are not going to negotiate on things that promotes corruption in Pakistan. We want Pakistan's integrity. We want Pakistan's solidarity. We are patriots, and Pakistan is a sovereign state. Pakistan can decide its fate on its own. But those who decide, are they honest with Pakistan? Taking $40 billion by one man outside of Pakistan, is that honesty? Is that patriotism? Do you expect me to provide this information to the people and say everything is going right? No, everything is not going right.
Doctor Saab, we are going to different direction. That's not the American perspective. Recently, the SATCOM journal was in GHQ. They did not impose any the restriction.
Do you
What
know
you what you mentioned right now.
talk to the
The
army chief?
the
Do you know
second
that?
we
Do you
don't
know
know
that what
we
was the
don't know
discussion
that
between CENTCOM and Pakistan Army? Are you going to take a responsibility on your statement?
No, I'm not taking any statement.
I
But
let me tell you that. Let me
yeah,
tell you that
yeah.
Pakistan's general and the general of the U.S. Army, they discussed terrorism issue in Pakistan.
Yes, that's what I'm
This is a
talking about.
concern for
That's why
everyone.
that's why my main concern is that. And the State Department, their statement was very positive, and they extended their hands. But right now, you talk about the corruption and the terrorism. We uh, I second what you said, that the money was lost, and the portion of the money they should spend to stabilize Pakistan. Come back to you, Dr. Saab. Uh, the uh, the Afghanistan factor right now, it is not their government is not legitimized, and even Pakistan did not recognize it. And in the extreme hunger and the extreme situation in Afghanistan, for the stable Afghanistan, for how long the Afghanistan will live like that? It would be always a threat to the region, in the region, and especially in Pakistan.
See, the point is the situation in Afghanistan has to be dealt by the people within Afghanistan. When we call Pakistan as a sovereign nation to make its own policies, that means the policies are to be made by Pakistanis, not by the outside world. Same is the case with Afghanistan. If the people of Afghanistan want to deliver peace, remain at peace with World Committee of Nations, want to be a member of the Committee of Nations of the world, then they have to bring an inclusive government in Afghanistan. They have to bring a government that represents all segments of the society, and there has to be democracy. Democracy, a democratically elected government, is acceptable to the entire world and would bring peace in Afghanistan. Until such time, the terrorists getting hold of their hands into guns and weapons and trying to force people to do something, including not providing education to the female folks in Afghanistan, this is not acceptable to the world. But
Doctor, you are very much right. Down the road, uh, the situation in Afghanistan, I do not know how they will change their mind. This is situation for a long time. Hopefully, the establishment and our departments, Pakistani departments, they will security agencies, they will uh, take care of this growing elements of terrorism, and we believe they already did very well. And let's jump to our next segment, and please relax a little bit. In Pakistan, where there is a corruption, these silly politicians, they are involved in different fantasies. I'm talking about newly uh, uh, 2 3 audios, and the contents in the audios and the characters that shock Pakistani public, and especially uh, I'm talking about the Imran Khan and one of the leader, former information minister from PML. So we saw a very seductive and dirty desires and fantasies, and the display, and especially the telecast. Then after that, on social media, on the main media, everybody discussing about these fantasies. So according to the survey, the 60 and 70s, this age, the people, they have a less these sexual desires, but we observed the young girls and the young seasoned politicians, they are involved with this very personality, and the especially youth uh, that follow Imran Khan, and the majority of the women, young girls, they also gather around him, fantasize him. So after the delivery of these seductive audios, so what is the impact of uh, impact on the youth, on our young kids? So how you respond, Dr. Saab? What's going on?
well, Farooq Mirza Saab, first of all, is this information something new to the people of Pakistan? Didn't they read so many newspapers in the internet that showed that Imran Khan was a very, very famous playboy in the sports area, globally known? And his reputation was as a playboy more than cricket. So far, I can see the internet and Google search. There were so many newspaper articles on him, so many faces that are linked to him, including so many girls, actresses in the Bollywood, Indian Bollywood. And we also know that he used to go to play cricket in India, and in number of visits, he could not come for batting or come to play because he was so tired, having some pain on the back, and that was the excuse given number of times. So we already know what was going on. We already know through Reham Khan's book what she claimed, and other people who came up and claimed something. It cannot be and then we saw the reports of the judgment the decree issued by the Los Angeles court.
Los Angeles court, yeah, Sita White case, yeah.
So what the thing is, when there is a court verdict that he raised an illegitimate child, then there is no second opinion. It cannot be said that this is an alleged incident that took place. No, it is not alleged. It's documented and decreed by the court. So he has raised an illegitimate daughter. Now, coming to the actual thing, when someone has had such a record, such a poor record, what happens here in this country? In the United States, both me and you will know, if someone is held on a crime case, then there is a bar by the court and the law not to join the government jobs by that individual. There is a restriction. Say, for example, if a person goes behind bars for 2 years, his record will remain intact for few years, and then he would be eligible to get a public office or a placement. That record will not go. In case of Imran Khan, if he had this sort of record, why the Pakistani security agencies cleared him to get a position as the prime minister of the country? There has to be some checkup. I tell you one thing, if I have to be checked up for giving a public office in Pakistan, there is a ground check. I cannot be cleared like that unless there is a ground check done by the
Doctor Saab, is it a moral and physical annihilation, a kind of mindset, a political psychopath, uh, a person living with these desires, dirty desires and fantasies, and marketing and bluntly responding in a funny way? And the characters involved, they also, and now the one of the character mentioned is a foreign state minister, and the way they made a mockery of her, a seasoned politician from South Punjab, and now she's a state foreign minister. And one of the woman character, she's a judge in federal government Islamabad representing women's rights case, a women violence case and women rights case, and she was also a part of these discussions and the visible contents. The irony of the matter is that these audios and videos cannot be presented into the courts because the judges and juries, they just like to entertain themselves, like to watch them, hear them, but legally they cannot take it uh, as a racket. So he cannot be penalized, cannot be punished. So I don't know what's going on in Pakistan. The political nonsense now is a political psychopath. So what's going on, Dr. Saab?
First of all, you express so many things, but on one issue, I would dispute your statement. That statement is this within the jurisdiction of the court? Yes, it is the jurisdiction of the court. How? There are two ways of handling it. One, the easiest way is taking a suo motu action. A man who was the prime minister of a country, who was head of the government, and he failed to follow 62(1)(f) of the Pakistan Constitution. There could be a suo motu action on 62(1)(f), and for that, the court has a jurisdiction to ask the labs, independent labs, one in the United States, that's my suggestion, and one in UK, and send them this audio for forensic test. I believe that when you say these audios, there is a forensic result right there in the audios.
But Dr. Saab, there is a
Now-
one problem. There is a one problem. You are very
Yes.
much right. A suo motu action is one of the.
No, I did not tell you the second.
No, one. There is a
I
one
did
issue.
not go into the second point.
No. I
just-
want to mention one of the issue before you move further. You need a person who documented these or who did these recordings. The court this is the one of the condition. These videos and audios cannot be verified and cannot be presented into the court.
No, I don't think so. This is a national security issue. And this is an issue that conflicts with the Constitution of Pakistan of 621F. The reputation of Pakistan is being damaged globally. And in order to save the damaging reputation of Pakistan, on the basis of national security, to protect Pakistan's interest and state interest, the courts of Pakistan should move on. There is no way that the man who provided these tapes should be called in. No, it is there in the entire media, including the YouTube, that can be verified through forensic evidences, and court can order that to protect Pakistan's national security and reputation of the country in order to comply with Article 621F, or call Imran Khan to respond as to these are valid. If he says yes, then that can be disputed and sent to the labs. If he says no, it is right, then there is no reason to send to the forensic evidence on
So,
that.
so
Now,
why
this is
the
one part of it.
why the courts not taking
Okay,
suo moto
I'll
actions?
go into that. This is one part of it. The second part of the entire case is if, and listen to me carefully, if such an audio against you or against me is brought up in public, would you be able to show your face to your children?
No.
No. Would anyone dare to show their faces after erupting these statements and this type of audio to his offsprings? No. In Pakistan, it cannot happen. So, what will happen next? If you are guilty, you would not be able to show your face to the public in shame. That's a shame for you. If you are not guilty, then you will say, come on, these my adversaries have made this thing. I am not going to leave them. I'll go to the end. And then you will demand the court and you will demand the forensic labs to make a test on that and bring those results before the public that look, this is fake. But what we have seen over the years with Imran Khan, when the book of Reham Khan came into public, was published in London, not in Rwanda, not in South Africa, not in Nigeria, was published in London, where Imran Khan's own statements exist that I trust British courts. So why didn't he challenge the book in British court and ask for damages in millions of dollars? It lost his reputation. He said, I will bring them to the court. I will take it to the court.
Doctor,
Just 1 second. Did he do that? No.
no.
Because he knew the truth exists. Now, the second thing, when the wristwatch case was brought into the public, he said, I will challenge, what is his name? Khanzada. I will challenge Khanzada in the court in Britain. And I will challenge him in Dubai. And I will challenge him in American court. 3 courts. It is 1 month now. Why Shahzeb Khanzada has not been taken to
Doctor
the
Saab,
court?
Doctor Saab, one of the PTI leader, his video came into public on social media with his wife. Down somewhere in was made in somewhere in Balochistan, and one of the agency declared that it is fake. But he came into public during the press briefing. He said, "No, it's not fake. It's real." And he was marketing, and that uh, specific video uh, file was only within the hands of 4 people, 2 his children and man and wife, and nobody has so far. But this guy was marketing his own video. That kind of shameful characters. But right now, Dr. Saab, we have a very limited time. These shameless characters, politicians, they are morally and physically annihilated and displaying their dirty desires and these erotic fantasies. I think they are ruining our youth and the especially our kids, they are fantasizing them and they following them. I think this is a very dangerous mindset. And the uh, the religious mullahs and these madrasas owners, even the religious organizations, they are also watching and amusing themselves, but they are not saying nothing. So I believe now it's a matter as usual in Pakistan. The judges, maybe they are afraid that if they will take over this case, and next day they will see their own videos on the social media with the same contents, with the same desires, dirty desires. So, Dr. Saab, what do you think? You have our 2 minutes, sir.
No, one thing I think we missed here that has to be said very clearly and categorically. A lot of people who are supportive of Imran Khan, they bring one excuse in discussion, and they says that this is a private matter and it is limited to his private affairs, should not be brought to public, and we do not agree this debate to be made public for them, to their attention. I want to make it very clear through your program. A man into public office is subject to public scrutiny. There is no private life of a person in public life. Bill Clinton was prosecuted, indicted based on his acts. There are a number of cases, including the director CIA, had to face court of law. The front runner of US elections had to face law.
Even the Donald,
Arnold Schwarzenegger
yeah,
had to quit as governor of California.
even the Donald Trump, he has to
Yes,
create a
yes,
heavy
yes, yes.
penalties in
So
these
even the
countries.
Western world, I'm not talking about Islamic preachings or the biblical preachings, including Christianity and Judaism. I'm not talking on that because all books are same, whether it is Bible, whether it is Torah, whether it is Quran. The teachings are same. I'm not talking about the biblical teachings and the punishments in biblical teachings. The decent world today, the democratic world, they have punished people in the West and in the East. There is no exception for Imran Khan. This is absolutely rubbish that this is a private matter. All public office holders are subject to public scrutiny.
Lord
Period.
Saab, thank you very much. Time's up. These things happen in civilized worlds where principles and morality prevail. But we are living in a different part of the world. Lord Saab, thank you very much for your time. Folks, uh, we have discussed very important uh, growing issues, especially terrorism just ignites, and possibly the armed forces, they will stop these elements right away in case it uh, escalates. So the rest of the world should, their peace could be threatened. I think at that stage, the world should respond, and they should also stand by Pakistan. The stability in Pakistan, economical stability, and the strong Pakistan is the best interest of rest of the world. We said many times the same thing. Secondly, in Afghanistan, there is urgent need uh, to legitimize if the Afghanistan factor uh, will prevail like that. Uh, it could it could be a very big threat to the regional security as well. Secondly, we talk about moral and physical annihilation. Videotapes, some claim they are fake, and some say these are fabricated and designed to ruin one of the politician's integrity and his prestige. But the contents of these audios very damaging. The cyber securities and cyber departments, they are not responding, and the courts, they are not taking suo moto action, and the religious factors, the those who uh, cause a lot of damage by the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and almost they destroyed peace, but they are quite.
Can I
They
add one thing into your submission? Just one
Yes,
thing.
please. Yes, please.
We are on record that the Pakistani population had burned alive a living human being, Sri Lankan man in Sialkot, because he took out the pieces of Quranic verses from the wall that was
Yeah.
pasted on the wall. And as a Sri Lankan, he did not know Arabic. He did not know if it was verses of Quran. He just took out because it was on the wrong place.
Yes, and
And for that he was being burned. The
he was
same
he was
society,
being burned,
the
and
same society that has
right
responded
now.
to high moral values of burning a man is silent on
But right
Imran
now,
Khan.
Doctor Saab, thank you very much for adding this incident. That was very tragic incident. But right now, our youth, their morality and their character uh, is uh, is at stake. I think the Pakistani authorities, courts, and especially the political party and their leaders, they have a dirty desire and fantasies. I think they should say goodbye to them for good, and they should be treated in a different way. Rather, they are roaming around and they are fantasizing and displaying their dirty characters, and ruin Pakistan's morality, Pakistan's name and image in the world. So we are an Islamic world, at least Islamic factors, these religious organizations, they should step up, at least issue some statement and campaign against these fake or these audios and videotapes that are circulating uh, in our inbox, in smartphones, and in our uh, the social medias. So very dangerous thing. So I hope the government of Pakistan and the responsible, they will take care of this. So folks, especially Professor Golam Mujtaba Saab, thank you very much for presenting or giving a wonderful response or from international level, from American perspective. You are always very good and very loud and very fair responding. Thank you very much. Folks, we will come back with a different topic. Now, Pakistan Zindabad.